Hola, hello, and you're like, where the hell have you been? Maris, where have you been? Well, we've had a lot of things going on over the weekend, and had to kind of like help my son a little bit this weekend. But I did get to see my granddaughter and spend some time with her. She's so cute. She loves that little movie Encanto. So yeah, it used to be the Mickey Mouse Club that and I knew the words. Yeah, and now it's Encanto, and then I got to see my grandson, so that was really cool. And I don't know, I just feel like the spell casting deck today. So this is the deck that I'm going to use in the reading. We have Reiki 1, First Degree, CPR for the Soul. It is this Sunday at 1 o'clock. I do teach the class every Sunday, every month on the last, I believe it's the last, I hate it when it does that, the last Sunday of the month. Don't go into it. Oh, hold on. Okay, now I'm back. So, I've got my spellcasting deck. I love this deck. It's like one of my favorite decks. So we do have Reiki First Degree this weekend, so you are invited. You can go on my website, or you can look in all of the mini posts of the events here on this Facebook page, and it will have all that information for you. Okay, we've only got 2 cards that came out, so I'm like, is this going to be just a 2-carder? Like, seriously? You're supposed to give me more information than that, right? May not be the deck, but it was the deck I wanted to use, so just going to kind of like see if it gives us anything else. And it may be just a 2-card read. I don't know. Okay. Alright, so it's a little more than a 2-card read. Some are on the floor. So it's like a 7-card read. And Melody was like, I just tell them and it goes smoothly. And then I'm like, okay. I was going to say sometimes it's like, just put the ding-dang cards away. You don't need them. And I go, that's really what that one's about, is that I just don't really need the cards. I don't know. What do we say? Anyway. So interesting. Wow. Okay, so let's take a look at the first card. And I'm like, son of a gun. Seriously? Do you have to come up with it like that? And then, of course, Aerosmith is like blaring in my head. And the song is the same old song and dance. So the message that I'm kind of picking up through this is that some things just don't change. Some things just don't change. They are the same old song and dance. Some things just don't change. Alright, so we've got another card that's coming up here, and this is our obstacle. And I'm like, okay. Hey Cheyenne, how are you? Alright, so this card right here, and this is the obstacle, and it is, hello Lynn, how are you? Is the passion card. So we know that we're starting in with some things aren't changing, some things don't change. Aerosmith, same old song and dance. And then we have the passion card comes in as an obstacle. And so what we're talking about through here is that we start to feel a sense of, and I'm going to use the word uncomfortableness, and that may be I don't know, that may not even be the word for it. We have a sense of unrest and that passion. So it's kind of like you get a drive or a motivation to create your own change. You get a drive or a motivation to create your own change. And what we're looking at, so we know that we're coming in from a place of that things aren't really changing the way we want them to change or the way we need them to change, and that it strikes this desire or passion or drive within ourselves to create change. Now, what can happen when we have this passion without a place to really use it? So if we're in a place of stagnant energy and we want to change things or we want to create something different, that sometimes our thoughts, our path, our vision is clouded. Our vision is somewhat clouded. And the help on through here, and I was like, animals go by instinct. Animals go by instinct and work in that realm of trusting their natural sense of their surroundings, their natural sense of things that are, how do I say, principles of things? Okay, so it's kind of like this. The picture that was just like, how do you explain this? I was like, normally, a gazelle and a lion aren't going to be best friends and go frolicking through the savannah together, okay? Normally. Now, you get a lion when it's a cub or a baby. You get that gazelle when it's a baby, and you raise them together. You can create a different kind of personality or a different kind of relationship, and that their personalities start to develop this kind of trust. But in the normal sense of the savannah, where people go on the safaris and stuff, a lion and a gazelle aren't going to be friends, okay? They have a natural instinct not to be friends, because they weren't placed into they weren't placed, raised together or whatever, and taught love. And so that's when we're looking back at this card, and you're like, how in the world? Okay, so this is saying that you're going to have to, so how is this a help? You're going to have to rely not so much on natural instinct, but instinct that has been cultivated. Instinct that has been cultivated. And so it kind of comes up and you're like, what the hell does that mean? Okay, so we can have something that's on the outside that looks very benign, and we don't think anything of it, and we would probably say it or use it or whatever 1,000 times a day. However, if you really think about that the external it's kind of like the what is it, the lion in sheep's clothing kind of thing, or how about the big bad wolf wearing grandma's clothes in Little Red Riding Hood? Okay, so it's like, even though it may look very benign on the outside, and you're a gazelle going, oh, it's another gazelle, you don't know, that might be a killer gazelle, okay? It's the same kind of principle. It's saying that don't go by what you feel is a natural instinct. Go by with what you have learned in your journey, in your path, okay? So, logical instruction. Yeah, you could say that. All right, so that's that focus that we're looking at through here. So we've got, kind of like some things aren't changing. We're still kind of treading water in that place. We know that we have a desire for change and we want to make things happen, but we have to kind of work with our, not so much our natural instinct, but with what we have learned, our experience, our instinct by experience through there. You're going to have to be the person to get up and go on this, and I think that that's kind of an interesting perspective when you think here. A lot of times we anticipate, and I'm like, it's kind of this feeling right here. Let's say you're looking for a new job, and all you've done is apply at restaurants, but you want to work in IT. Okay, if you keep focusing on one particular thing and not expanding your horizon, you're going to go back to making the same choices. Not saying making the same mistakes, but making the same choices. So if you're looking for change, you can't stay where you were. You have to look outside of that and travel, which means movement, into something different. You cannot expect change to happen while you're sitting in your living room or sitting in your same space day after day. All right, forgiveness. This is an interesting card because the message that I'm getting when that is that you cannot blame people for things that they don't know. You cannot blame people for things that they do not know. All right, so I'm going to kind of throw it out here in a couple of different ways. So let's say you're in a friendship or relationship, marriage, whatever, partnership, and your friend has or the other person, whatever, has behaviors that you don't dig. Maybe you're not into alcohol or getting drunk, and they love to get drunk. Maybe they like using medical marijuana or recreational marijuana. Maybe they like to gamble. Maybe they have a shoe fetish. Whatever it is. That if people have not learned how to work outside of those negative, if we don't ever figure out how to work outside of that, then we're going to continue doing the same thing. All right, so if a person comes from a background where they did a lot of alcoholic, they drink a lot of alcohol, on the daily, and that being drunk or getting drunk, whatever, was a part of the status quo or how people interacted in that family, then most of their family gatherings or most of their things are going to be centered around the alcohol. The same thing, it's if you come from a family that screams and yells as their mode of communication, that's what you know how to do. And when you go into a relationship, that's all you know how to do. You don't know how to sit down and have a discussion or converse or banter. All you know how to do is to scream and yell. And in that if a person has been taught a particular behavior or a particular tradition, we cannot always expect them to just drop that because we say we don't like it or it's uncomfortable or whatever. People have to find something that fills that space. People have to find something that fills that space. So in this forgiveness, it's about looking at not so much what people do, but why people do those things. And if that is their form of communication, screaming and yelling, until they are taught and shown that screaming and yelling isn't everybody else's form of communication, they will continue to think that that's okay. So it's not about what that person does when it's a negative behavior, it's why. And then being that element of it, I guess, that forgives the what in order to help the why and the person that's experiencing that. I mean, if somebody was born and raised in a place where, they Their form of screaming and yelling, or their form of communication was screaming and yelling. That's all they know how to do. They don't know how to converse or communicate, especially on an intimate level, with anything different. And that's what this forgiveness is. The forgiveness is about understanding why people do the things that they do, and perhaps that will allow us to change our perspective of what is happening in their life, or in our life together. Okay, not a good time right now for Cheyenne. Are you okay today? Not a good time for career change. Not a good time for career change unless you have that already lined up. It is not a good time for career change. But it is a good time to declutter body, mind, and spirit. It is a good time to declutter body, mind, and spirit. This is about letting go of all the things that hold you back and do not allow you to move forward with your progression in life, or being on your path in life. So this is a time that it is good to declutter or remove things that no longer serve your purpose. Oh goodness. Okay. Alright, so now comes the time. Alright, so you know, a couple of cards back, we're talking about forgiveness, and thinking outside the box and looking at things in different ways. Well, this is where you now start to harvest your answers. You start to get all those questions, like, there's something about that person, or there's something about this situation. I can't put my finger on it, but, well, this is now the buts are being answered. The buts are being answered. Answers coming through. Starting to see things as they are, where they're going, moving forward, able to, and that actually helps you to kind of declutter some of those vibrations. What's that end result? That end result is love. That end result is peace. That end result is comfort. That end result is joy. That end result is bliss. So even though we've got some things on our platter this week that we have to kind of muddle through, decluttering, letting things go, forgiving things that we don't want to forgive, etc. But the end result is all positive, good, high-flying energy that works very well to bring a sense of peace back into your vibe, body, mind, and spirit. So I hope you enjoyed today's reading. My name is Maris. I'm here in my little sacred space, and come see me sometime. Peace, love, and harmony. Have a great day.